So do you ever struggle with getting a good polish in some of the tight areas in the jewelry that you're making? Well, today we're going to tackle a couple of different ways of going about that. I've got this ring here, and it's a casting that I made, and it's got like around the bezel, it's got there's a mold line over here, and it's just not super clean like I would like it. So I'm going to show you how I go about getting those areas nice and tight and clean so that it looks nice, crisp, and professional. So the first thing we'll do is we'll tackle this mold line here. So what I will do is I've got these, they're called snap-on sanding discs. This one here is kind of small and used up. So if you look at it, it's got a little slit in there, and you pinch that together, and you can take the disc off, or the sanding disc off, and then you can take and snap on a new one, and it holds it in place. That's why it's called a snap-on disc. And sometimes I'll put them so that the sandpaper is on the inside. Sometimes I put them on the outside, and I've got a number of them laying around with different sandpaper discs on them with different grits, and some of them are on the inside, some are on the outside. I like to use most of them where it's sanding on the inside, and I'll show you why. So I load this up in here, and this way when I'm working, adjust this just a little bit. So when I'm working, I can see what I'm doing here, and just kind of come in there and kind of grain it that way. Now there's other times where the sanding is on the outside, and I can do it this way as well. Let's see, I have one of these loaded up here. It's kind of that way as well. So, and I like to do this as well, because when you're doing it this way, when it's grinding, it's blowing the dust and the particles away from you, where if you're doing it this way, it's kind of blowing them towards you. So if you look at this sanding disc, the edge of it is used up a little bit. So and also when you put a new one on there, sometimes they're not absolutely true. They've got a little bit of a wobble to them. So this is just a surgical blade, and it's a curved surgical blade. This is what I use when I am cutting molds. And when they get just dull enough to where they don't cut molds well, they're still sharp and they still have use. So what I do is I'll take these, and I don't know if you can see this or not, but I spin this and I touch the tip of and it trims off the used edge and gives me a nice sharp edge. And let's see where that little piece went, but so it just trims off just a little bit, but now this is nice and fresh and I can use it. So we'll go in here and we'll clean up this little edge of this bezel. So I'm riding the edge of this sanding disc right on the base of that bezel setting, so that it leaves a nice crisp, sharp edge there. And I'll just go around the whole thing and just make sure that it's nice and cleaned up. So a lot of times if you're making bezels by hand and you're bending the bezels and soldering them in place, sometimes you'll leave tool marks on the bezel itself. So this is a good way to get rid of those tool marks before you start polishing, because you don't want to just take the polishing wheel to the bezel with dents or tool marks in them, because then it doesn't give it a nice flat area. It just kind of gives it a wavy area. And so I'm just kind of going around, and again, riding the edge of this sanding disc right on the edge of that bezel, between the base of the bezel and the rise of the bezel. So now the bezel all around is nice and it's got a nice clean surface. It's nice and sanded. So the next thing I'll do is go to like a medium grit silicone rubber wheel. You can kind of see what that is. And this one is, I use this quite a bit. And the same process with, so right now this edge is not as knife edged as I would like it. So again, we can take this same scalpel or the same surgical blade, and as this is spinning, I can touch this to the wheel and I can cut it. Just cut just a little bit of this piece off, and now this has got a nice sharp edge again. Before it was a little bit rounded. The more you use it, you lose that sharpness of that knife edge. So now I can come in and just smooth out the sanding marks from the sanding the snap-on sanding disc. So, and I've mentioned before, don't think of polishing as putting a shine to a piece of jewelry, but think of polishing as the process of eliminating defects until there are none. So the first defect that we had was a little bit of pitting and some mold lines from the casting. This next set of defects was sanding marks from the sanding disc, and that's kind of a medium grit sanding, medium to fine. I don't like to use a real heavy grinding disc on the sanding discs. It's kind of a medium to fine. So the next defect would be the sanding marks. So now I'm going after those sanding marks with a rubber wheel. And when I'm done with that, the next defect will be the surface area left from the rubber wheel. It's still not a polish, it's still a sanded area, it's just got finer sanding marks to it. And then after that, then we'll go into a pre-polish and a final polish. So let me finish up this, and I'm just using the knife edge of that. It gets right down into the crack of that area and gives us a nice defined edge so that it doesn't just all blend together, but you can actually see that there's an edge there. Just going around and blending all of those sanding marks and taking them out. So it'd be the equivalent of, say, going from a 400 grit to maybe an 800 grit finish. And just kind of looking and seeing if there's any little defects, and then you can kind of blend those in with this rubber wheel as well. These silicone rubber wheels are really nice. I use them a lot. You can shape them so that they get into different areas and just help your finish look a lot more professional and a lot more crisp. So now you can see the whole bezel area is nice and clean, and it's again to about an 800 to 1,000 grit finish. So the next thing I would do would go after it with a brush wheel, and I can do that at the bench, but I'm gonna go to my polishing machine and show you on there, just so that it a little bit easier and it makes a little bit more sense. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go after this polishing with a brush, a horsehair brush. This one is what's on there right now, and this is just a mandrel that holds a brush, so you can grab these and spin them off. This is threaded, so when you put it on my polishing wheel, it spins and the threads will actually suck the wheel onto it to tighten it up. So kind of stick that on there and just spin it or twist it on there, and now it's nice and tight. So I can take this and thread it or hold it onto my polishing motor, and now it's to try and get it a little bit more. There we go. So now it's holding it on there, so it's hands free. So now I can actually work my piece with both hands. So this might get a little noisy because I'm turning on the filtration system, but hopefully you can hear me over the noise. this is the bobbing compound that I use, and we'll get in there and I'm just kind of running that brush right along this edge in here, and I'm going to do that all the way around. And I'm just taking out all of the little scratches from the rubber wheel. When I'm polishing, I always keep like this in my hand so that it's quick to just kind of touch it and load the brush or load the wheel that I'm using. But that's just what I do. It doesn't necessarily something that everybody has to do. Just saves a little bit of time. Now you can kind of see it's nice and polished all the way around there. And the reason that I like to use those brushes is because it saves that definition in between the bezel and the base of the bezel, so that everything just doesn't blend in, but you can actually see that there's supposed to be a ledge there. So if you just take this to a polishing wheel and just start polishing on it, what that's going to do is just kind of take out that definition and blend everything together. So now that we've got it to this stage, what I'll do is I'll clean it up first, and then I'll bring it back to the polishing wheel, and I'll use a softer wheel. See, this is nice and soft, and then a compound that I use for finishing is called ZAM. It's kind of a green. I don't know if you can see how green it is, but and that will give me the final polish. And now after I go with that, with the ZAM, I can get a nice polish on there without losing that definition, because the ZAM, it's not really taking off a whole bunch of metal. It's just doing that final shine on there. So let me get this cleaned up, and then we will just put a final polish on it. Okay, so now we're going to put this final polish on there, and we're not doing a heavy polish on it. It's just more of a final shine. So again, this is the ZAM that I'm using, and just kind of going around the whole thing and just giving it that final sheen. You can see now we still got that nice definition line in between the bezel and the base, but everything else is nice and shined up, and it's good. So again, think of the polishing as going in stages and removing scratches and defects until there are none. So there you go, got it all cleaned up. I cleaned it in my ultrasonic, and in my ultrasonic I use a combination of water, Dawn dishwashing soap, and a little bit of household ammonia, just to break out that polishing compound a little bit more. And I use so it's a 10-liter ultrasonic, and I probably use maybe 2 cups of Dawn dishwashing soap and maybe 1 cup of ammonia. So that's kind of the mixture. I just kind of, I know how much I use and I just kind of pour it in, but if I measured it out, that'd be kind of equivalent to what it is. So again, so when we're polishing areas that are not just a flat area, but they've got some definition in it. So kind of think of it as 3 different steps to it. First thing is identifying what the defect is, or what the area is that you want to polish and keep that definition. So identifying what you want to do. Second thing is picking the tools that you want to do. So on this one, I use a snap-on sanding disc, a rubber wheel, and then the polishing. And then the third is just kind of going through those steps and eliminating the scratches and the defects until there are none. So again, the process that I used on this one, and I use different processes on different projects, but on this one, I used the sanding disc, the rubber wheel, and then the pre-polish and the final polish. And I just about everything I always use a pre-polish and a final polish, because again, the pre-polish is still the process of taking out scratches. And when you're done with the pre-polish, then maybe the finish is maybe a like 3,000 to 5,000 grit sandpaper. It's kind of shiny, but if you look real close, you'll still see some little like sanding marks, just because the bobbing compound that I use is a polishing compound, but it's still it's taking off metal. It's got grit in it that uses to take off that metal and blend everything in. So then the last step would be either to, what I use is ZAM, but if you even wanted to go even more of a sheen, you could use like a red rouge, which gives you a really good finish. But you know, and sometimes I will use that, but I don't use it as much, just because it's so fine that it gets into everything. It's harder to clean off. So I just use the ZAM. It gives me a polish that I'm satisfied with. So there you go. So that's again kind of the 3 tips: identifying the problem, 2, identifying the tools you want to use, and then 3, that progression from defect to no defect, which is the polishing process. So hopefully that helps a little bit, gives you some ideas of the different tools that I use. And again, on different projects, I'll use different tools, and other people use different things. I'm not saying that this is the way to go about it. This is just the way that I go about it, and I get good results. So if it helps you out, then that makes me happy. So again, this is Doug with the Jewelry Monk Studio. Make sure to not only subscribe here, because if you do, you'll be notified on Fridays at 8 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. That's when we do our live stream. So I come on and wrap up the week. So this whole week we're talking about polishing. So I released a polishing video a couple of days ago, and then this one, and then on Friday we do a live question and answer. I kind of wrap up the week, and we just hang out and talk jewelry for a little bit. So this whole week we're just kind of tackling some polishing projects, and hopefully you get some value out of it. You can always leave comments as well. I always answer them when I see them. If I see a comment, I will answer it. It's just, you know, for now, it's nice that I don't have 1,000 comments a day, so it doesn't take up a whole bunch of time. So if you have any questions, leave a comment, or you can always email me at doug@jewelrymonk.com. So hopefully you find value in this content, and I'll keep doing it. So thanks for hanging out with me, and we'll see you on Friday.